Welcome back to another episode of Fan Interference, and now live here in our corner office studios, Tim Beeman, Everett Hutto, and then what is this? It's Bijan Todd. He is zooming in. His duties are on pause for the Wizards.
The Wizards are on pause.
They have a playoff break. So
I got withdrawals not being with you guys for too long. I'm glad to be back.
That's right.
Glad to have you. It's been since Christmas,
We
right?
need to tell the
Wow.
Wizards that they got to pick a different day to do all their shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have
It's
to tell
not
us.
like they're doing anything productive anyway.
That's right.
You have to tell us what that schedule is, and maybe I can work with Tim to make it fit in your schedule.
No, I fit around Tim's schedule. Tim's the master. But I appreciate that, though. Luckily, the Wizards, most every team except for 8 of them left, are doing absolutely nothing for the next couple months. So we're good.
Yeah.
That's right.
It seems like they were doing absolutely nothing the rest of the
Before
time.
that.
Well,
Can't argue.
the last two games, Boston Celtics haven't been doing absolutely nothing either, besides choking it up and giving it to the Knicks,
It's a fact.
which seems like it was like Las Vegas was calling in. I mean,
Is that what we call a segue? Is that going to be our first topic?
Sure.
Sure. Playoffs.
I've never seen a team that looks like playing great basketball, ball movement, everything, and then they just go to YMCA ball, and it's like go up there, shoot it, and hope we get the rebound. Absolutely just
What, have you been watching the playoffs?
frustrating.
I mean, it's sort of the story.
I threw my phone twice. But anyway, let's
It's
go.
upsetting because the Celtics' best players, specifically Jason Tatum, doesn't seem to realize that he's 6'7" and unguardable. He chucks it up from 40 feet instead of using his 6'7" self to get closer to the basket, which, as a Celtics fan, Ty, I assume is very frustrating.
Yeah, this goes back to last year. It's so frustrating to watch them. You know how good they can be, and then when they're bad, they're like, "Oh my god!" Like what's?
But so
I think when Porzingis was in the game, they played better, and then Porzingis went out, and never appeared. And after that, it was just like chuck, or as I say it, uck it, and then chuck it.
So the Celtics play this way, though. They shoot a ridiculous amount of three-pointers a game.
Yeah, and they
average
haven't been able to
50
hit those,
made
yeah.
threes a game. Or
They
not
were 10
made,
of 40
50
last night.
attempts. 40 to 50 attempts per game is what they average. So this is their style.
Right.
And right
They
now
live
they're
by the
not
pit.
making it. And Tim Legler, who I don't really listen to a lot, but he
Love
did
Tim.
make a comment talking about that it was almost embarrassing to watch the Celtics play because not only were they shooting a lot of threes, they were shooting a lot of quick threes. And because they were shooting so much quicker, the Knicks had more possessions and sped up the game.
Yep.
Or had more opportunities. Whereas if you can shoot the same amount, just do it slower.
Right.
And then you limit possessions that the Knicks have because Boston is actually the better team in this. And a little bit of it goes to the Pacers-Cavs series too. The Cavs were up 20 and lost game 1. And it's kind of the same thing. Teams get these leads and I don't know what happens. I don't know if they just kind of feel like, oh, it's in the bag. We can start, horsing around, doing whatever, taking our shots, getting our stats, or they just forget that it's a long game and runs happen. And the teams who have been leading early have ended up losing the games. And not just the Celtics series. It's been in a couple of series.
I don't know how you can do that twice, and then plus just the style of play is piss poor from what the third quarter and the ball movement, how Holiday was playing, defense, everything else looked like perfect. And I was like, okay, well they're playing ball, they're moving the ball, they're actually got a strategy. And then comes the fourth quarter, and then it's again, chuck it, fuck it. And I'm just
Watch your damn language.
hey, watch. I'm looking around what how do you not? I mean, okay, I know Everett's going to give me crap, but I was like, if you're the coach, how do you see that and be like, let's just keep going? I mean,
Well,
it just,
there's two reasons for that. One, it's the NBA,
Right.
and there's no actual coaching going on.
apparently not in that
Two,
last one.
That's the way they play.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if
you've watched them all year.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's the thing. It's just but you're in the playoffs, so it's you would have to try to at least value a win and value a win at home, and at least like if the three's not going, you should have a plan B. I know that's their game,
plan B.
but 10 of 40, and like Tim Legler said, quick threes, ridiculous. And then I mean I love Tatum, but he's like the superstar that all of a sudden goes missing, and then you don't know where he is, and you think like, oh man, you're soft. You're soft, just like Edwards. I think like Anthony was like, wow, this guy's a superstar, and then he doesn't appear, and you're like, where the hell did he go? Like Jordan didn't do that. If he disappeared for one game, he was definitely going to be in the next game. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's just Tatum being soft, or if it's not working, then it's not working. But I mean, if I didn't despise the Knicks, I would think that's a great team to watch because they really just hustled. I like Brunson, and I think they put together a good team. I just hate that it has New York on the front of their jersey. So,
Well,
I'm with you. I think the no offense, Ty, they're both extremely unlikable. But the thing about the Celtics is that they have like almost an embarrassment of riches because they have a top 10 player in the NBA in Jason Tatum. If he disappears, which he did, you can rely on Jaylen Brown. He was the Finals MVP. He's an incredible player. He's actually been playing better than Jason Tatum in these playoffs. If both of them happen to disappear on that astronomical chance, you have Kristaps Porzingis, who can still run the offense as a center, as a 7-foot center from the point, which is a ridiculous plus to have. If all three of them don't perform, then you can rely on guys like Peyton Pritchard and Derek White. And Drew
Derek White
Holiday.
puts up 30 points a game almost. Like that's ridiculous for some. That is a hidden gem that they found.
Peyton Pritchard was top 5 in the NBA in threes made this year, and he's a bench player. It's unbelievable the amount of talent that they have on the floor. But the problem with them, I think, in these playoffs is the fact that they go up against teams that put bodies on their best players. Like OG Anunoby is one of the best defenders in the NBA, and he's guarding your best player in Jason Tatum. I'm actually surprised Tatum was able to make it to 20 points in the first game. I think he ended up scoring like 13 in the last game. So the Knicks have sort of got this formula where, all right, you have a Porzingis, we have a Towns, we can put a body on him. You have a Jaylen Brown, we'll put Josh Hart on him. That's a good defender to have. They have a formula for figuring it out. In terms of how the Knicks are as a team, they're pretty likable, I think, to watch, but to watch, not as like a fan perspective. I hate watching Jalen Brunson play. I can't stand it. I hate the foul baiting. I hate the Pez dispenser head kick he does whenever he gets touched.
I get that. Yeah, especially I did see a foul that he got, where he literally did a Duke, got into the lane, full extension, and shoved Drew Holiday to the ground, and then got to go to the free throw line. You're like,
that was a huge sequence. That was the free throws that gave him the win. That put him up 91-89.
oh no, this was before that. That was like when Boston was up by 18, but like.
Okay. Well, he did the same thing at the end of the game too.
Well, I mean, like the thing is, I don't know if you watched some of the game, but like there was the personnel on the court for Boston was, New York put bodies to get in the interior to get rebounds, and it looked like Boston was like, we're going to try to go with athleticism and speed, and they had no answer for, again, the physical play of New York. They put a body on it. They were able to get the rebounds. And then all Boston could do was flop. And they look like idiots. And Tatum's over here camped out beyond the three and wide open for a three. Has chance to like tie his shoe, pick his nose, and then misses everything up. And it was bad.
It was bad. The only thing that I can say, the last thing I'll say about this is that like the Celtics, as Everett said, they play their game, which is like just, as you said, F it and chuck it from three. They've been doing that all year. They were like the best 3-point shooting team, I think, historically, just in terms of volume. Let's see, for 3-pointers last night, they went 10 of 40. Okay, that's 25%. They're not going to shoot that poorly for the rest of the series. So once their threes start falling, you have a better chance. But now you have to think, do we rely on the formula? Because the formula got us down 0-2, or do we change the formula?
Well,
That's what they have to figure out.
I think they stick with it. I don't think they're changing.
Because I mean, if you look at it, you're like, okay, well, look, they had to come back down 20. We shot 10 of 40 from beyond the arc, and they just escaped to get the win. You had your best player shooting this, right, and Jaylen Brown shooting this. So it's like if you do the numbers right, yeah. But I mean, just like the eye test again, just looked like they were not into it, at least in the fourth quarter. It was almost like it was in the script to give them the game again in the fourth quarter, and they didn't care. Almost like they felt like they were going to spot them 2 games so they can try to have some of a challenge. But I don't know if that might, shoot them in the foot because you got to go to New York, and you get the New York Knicks pumped up that they might see a rafter, they might see a banner in their rafters once in 4 decades, 5 decades. So I hate when you're flirting with fire. I just hope that, they show their dominance by knocking down these threes, and they are a better road team, but it looked like the whole strategy changed in the fourth quarter, and it was like, well, we're going to see if we're going to live and die by the 3, and that's it. And in the third quarter, it was, give and goes, moving to Porzingis, and I didn't see Porzingis in the fourth quarter a lot. I thought he changed how New York approached their defense, but I don't know. It was frustrating.
We'll see if they stick with the formula.
Yeah.
Of these two, so in the East, Boston trails New York 2-0. The number 1 seed, Cavaliers, trail the Pacers 2-0. Of these top seeds, which one do you think is the most likely to come back from down 2-0?
Boston. And I just say that because of what Bijan said, and not because I wear green sunglasses. But I'm definitely, after the morale was high coming into the playoffs, now it's like just seeping down again. So, I don't know. Maybe I feel like they're the type of team that needs that extra motivation, and when they turn into a gear, then they can, go gangbusters. But with Cavaliers, especially the way that Indiana, the Pacers have been playing, I don't know. I mean, and then on the fact that the Cavaliers have injured point guard, so I think it's kind of changed the whole chemistry of that team.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I agree with Todd.
I kind of do too, because the injury bit is the important part, I think, there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evan Mobley, in my opinion, is a top 10 player in the NBA, and if he's injured for more than 2 games this series, that's bad. Also, Boston's been there before. They're not going to get shook by going down 2-0. I think they'll collect themselves. They're not going to get worried about it. One thing I love about the Pacers, though, is that the Pacers play like a college team with NBA talent. I love that about them. They play so hard. They're up by 10 with 2 minutes left. They're not milking the clock. They're running the floor. They're trying to get a bucket every single time they play. They have one superstar, just one. And he's even like a fringe superstar in Tyrese Haliburton.
I love him.
The most overrated player in the NBA, according to NBA players.
I think he saw that and he was like, okay, watch this. And then you have a bunch of dudes who just play so hard. Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith, Miles Turner, TJ McConnell, who could go to literally any team in the NBA and be a positive impact. I love the way the Pacers play basketball, and I want them to win if not the East, maybe the title, just because I think it's a very ethical way to play basketball. And so I think the Cavaliers are starting to realize they might be in deep shit here. We'll see if they end up getting rattled too, but I don't know. If I'm the Pacers, I'm feeling. If I'm a Pacers fan, I'm feeling pretty good about where I stand right now.
I mean, I think you got to feel good up 2-0 going home. I mean, you look at it and you go, we only have to split 2 games at home, and then you're up 3-1.
Let's be honest. I mean, when you went into the actual first day of playoffs and you had the Cavs number 1, you're like number 1 seed. I think everybody in the probably 90% of anybody that watches the NBA or anything with sports would say that's a weak number 1. I think it's like a team that just did well regular season, but it's like, okay, let's see how you do in the postseason. I think a lot of people would put money down that they would not get to the finals or they would be the first one out. So I don't know. I mean, I still think the Cavs, and props to them because of, how they kind of built that team underneath the radar and how they performed in the entire year is impressive. And then you get dealt a blow without your point guard. So, I mean, I get it. But
speaking of building a team up, the Pacers built this team out of nothing.
Yeah.
They had no top 5 picks at all on the roster. They traded for Tyrese Haliburton. They drafted really well. They kept Miles Turner around long after everybody thought he was going to be gone. They drafted guys like Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nembhard. just genius roster construction. I really respect a team that can do that without actually tanking, because they never tank.
Absolutely. Yep. And just the way that they're playing down the stretch too before the playoffs hit. I mean, they seem to be locked in. They bought into Carlisle's system. They truly believe in themselves. So when I saw Indiana facing the Cavaliers, I was like, oh, this could be where the Cavaliers get upended. And now they're down the Cavaliers are down 2-0. So
let's move over to the West.
Haliburton is not
the most overrated player.
No.
Well, then why did the NBA
I have no
players?
idea. I'd like to know that too. But I mean,
I think we need to take a vote of the NBA players to see who came forward and see how good they are.
Show yourself.
I mean, the thing is, I don't follow the NBA that closely. Bijan obviously has way more NBA knowledge than the rest of us. But yeah, I'm in agreement with Bijan. He probably read that and said, you know what? Let's see. And he's hit 2 game winners in these playoffs already. And I saw something like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bijan, but I think I saw a stat that said that in the fourth quarter, when he's got a shot to tie or put his team ahead, he's like 10 of 11.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was about to say. That is an absurd stat, but it's real.
I mean, that's crazy. How can you be overrated if you're hitting 10 of 11 in pressure?
I almost think that's a
shots?
joke.
I don't know. I don't understand how. I mean, I think a lot of NBA players saw this dude who's not.
Maybe then
Who kind of comes across as like a pretty boy, maybe, and they were like, "Oh, fuck this guy," but he's actually an incredibly good player.
maybe they didn't read it right. Maybe they were like, "Oh, underrated." Oh, we said overrated. Oh, my bad.
Well, let's scoot over to the West really quick. Golden State leads Minnesota 1-0, but Steph Curry is out until at least Game 5. What are your thoughts about the Warriors' chances against Minnesota, even though they won without him, 3 quarters without him? Do you think they can sustain to Game 5 without him?
They can get one.
And that's minimum.
They can get one.
But that's minimum.
I don't know. That hamstring pull, grade 1, right?
Strain.
Strain, yeah. Strain 1, grade 1 for a strain.
I mean,
Yeah,
Minnesota's talented.
I'm taking Minnesota anyway, but I still think the Golden State can get at least another one without Steph.
I agree. I think they'll get one, but like the one thing that we've said many times about Steph Curry is that like the level that he brings his teammates to is ridiculous because he just creates so much space. You have to double team him every time he gets the ball. You have to play
As
up
soon as
on
he
him.
crosses
I was
the
going to say
timeline.
you got to guard pick him up at the logo.
And like everyone's talking about Buddy Hield, and Buddy Hield is a tremendous 3-point shooter. He shot incredibly well these playoffs. The reason he's been shooting so well is because when he catches the ball, there's no one within 5 feet of him because of how much space Steph Curry creates. You take Steph Curry out of the equation, now you have a problem if you're Golden State because you're going to have to rely on your other playmaking guards to create that space. Brandon Podziemski can't do that. Buddy Hield can't create space for other players. All these guys feed off of Steph. You take him out, you got a big problem on your hands. I think they're still going to be good defensively, but if I'm Minnesota, I'm like rejoicing at the fact that Steph Curry's out because they got dominated in Game 1. It wasn't even pretty.
Yeah. And then in the other series, Denver and OKC are tied 1-1. The stat that I didn't get to mention leading into this is that for the first time in NBA history, all 4 home teams, the favorites, lost Game 1 of their respective series in the second round. So the fact that OKC, so far the only team to come back after losing the first and tie their series, Minnesota gets a chance tonight. What do we think about that series? Because the first game, Denver kind of dominated, and last night OKC just said, y'all are in the way. Like it was a 30-point game.
That's another one that's like OKC, how they built that team is pretty impressive, which has been underrated. How that has been.
Yeah, because you had Paul George and you traded him for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and like 17 draft picks. It's genius. They did that. It worked. The thing that you said, Everett, that stat, I honestly just think that's a fluke. Like all these games were like last second game winners, like Haliburton beating the Cavs, Aaron Gordon beating the Thunder. The Knicks had to go to overtime to beat the Celtics in Game 1. Like I think that just like 4 times it went one way. You know what I mean?
Well, so let's have an argument, not an argument, a hypothetical here. Let's just say the Pacers and the Thunder advance to the NBA final.
Thunder.
No, I'm not interested in who wins or loses. I don't care. My point is, how much do the networks hate life, and what is the rating of the NBA final going to be?
Yeah,
because I agree with you, Bijan. I think the Pacers and OKC are great examples of how you should play basketball and how you should build a basketball team. I would love to reward both of them for a finals appearance. I just think mainstream America is going to be like, we're not watching this, even though it's probably the best basketball they'll see all year.
I would love it. I saw a tweet that was like, OKC is going to be the first team to win a championship on ESPN2. I would love it if they made it to the finals, man. But like the whole NBA product in the finals, last couple of years has been bad. Like you see a YouTube TV ad every 2 seconds. There's no like finals logo on the court. It's bad product. Yeah. But like if it's good basketball, if you get the Pacers and the Thunder in there, I would love it. But you're right, the casual and Adam Silver would be pissed.
Click here for a moment of zen.
Well, especially when you got New York and Boston on the other side, and you got Golden State on the other side. It's like you want one of those three in if you're the NBA.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift over to the NHL. I've got a couple things to go on here. I want to go back to the last round because
you do
because there were 2 Game 7s in the NHL playoffs last round: Dallas and Colorado, Winnipeg and St. Louis. And I want you to tell me which loss you think is the hardest to take and just the most agonizing.
1.6 seconds.
So Dallas trailed Colorado 2-1 going to the third period, and with about 8 minutes to go. And Dallas scored 3 goals in the third period to win it 4-2. St. Louis led Winnipeg literally the whole game. They scored 1 minute into the game, and the game was tied with 1.6 seconds to go. St. Louis had a 2-goal lead with 2 minutes left to go. They were playing 6-on-5 for 3 minutes and 14 seconds, I think. But the tying goal comes at 1.6 seconds left on the clock. It goes to overtime. And then obviously, I mean, as soon as that goal goes in, everybody knows that Winnipeg's winning the game in overtime.
I was watching a viral video of a Blues fan.
Wasn't me, was it?
No. The guy was like, I feel so like worthless or just helpless. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, and then like, oh, we're going to win. And it was like, oh, and I'm like, man, I feel for that. I definitely have been there.
You know, I felt bad for you, but outside the Canes, I'm pulling for any Canadian team.
We know. Move on.
So, hey, you get to sit there and ramble on about your stupid Boston teams. I can talk about whatever.
So you just want to be all Canada?
Communist.
I am all Canada because fuck us.
That's incredible, man. There's somebody downtown would like to meet you. I like some of the Canada teams too, but right now the series that I'm interested in is the Caps and the Canes. But
Everett, you left out a big part of that Dallas Colorado lore. So
the Avalanche scored the 3 goals.
The Stars scored 3 goals. Right, at the end. But the thing you left out was the fact that it was one guy who scored all those 3 goals. He scored a hat trick in the third period.
Yeah, and he was a former Avalanche player.
Mikko Rantanen scored a hat trick against his former team. He was traded from Colorado to another team, I think, and then traded from Colorado to.
He's the one who got the hat trick last night too, right?
Yeah, somewhere else, and then he got traded to Dallas, and there's really bad blood between Rantanen and the Avalanche because of the fact that I don't think he forced a trade, but I think there's like something that went on there where like the relationship between Rantanen and the Avalanche is weird. So against his former team, down 2-1, he scores 3 goals in the third period, winning Game 7. And guess what? Mikko Rantanen last night against Winnipeg scores another hat trick.
He's got back-to-back games
in 2 games.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
Well, I think Winnipeg's in a lot of trouble. I really do. They didn't look great against St. Louis, especially on the road. They gave up a ton of goals in St. Louis. Haliburton just hasn't looked himself, although himself Oh yeah, I mixed up two people.
I was about to say, there's a
Haliburton.
Haliburton there,
Yeah,
too.
Haliburton.
Definitely not
Haliburton's
overrated. This guy can play hockey too.
I mixed up two people. But anyway, yeah, Haliburton. He hasn't looked himself, although he hasn't been great in the playoffs the last couple of years. But Winnipeg just looks
Tired.
slow. Yeah, tired, something. They just don't look like the way they looked. And this brings up to our President's Cup, winner of the President's Cup goes to the, best record in the regular season. That team hasn't won the Stanley Cup since like 2013.
There's a curse.
And so I don't think it's going to happen this year either.
I don't think so. You know the stat about Hellebuyck? First of all, Hellebuck's the best goalie in the NHL, or at least
Yeah.
he was in the regular season. He's going to win the Vezina.
For the
He
third
is right
year.
now. Yeah, he is right now what Andrei Vasilevsky was like 4 years ago for Tampa.
Yep. Except
but
he's not as good in the
Hellebuyck-
playoffs.
Exactly. Hellebuck also not as good on the road. Like his goals against average on the road is like 6 something, but his goals against average at home is like 1 point something or 2 points. Like he's a different person when he goes on the road. And now that you dropped the first game
At home.
that's not good if you're
Yeah.
a Jets fan.
Because that Winnipeg St. Louis series, the home team won all 7 games. And
Because of
the
that-
3 in
because of
St.
Hellebuck,
Louis weren't close.
Because of Hellebuck. Yeah, and the Stars just got like a juju about them. And they have probably the best home atmosphere in the NHL. Like their fans are standing and screaming the entire game.
Yeah.
Who's this?
Dallas.
Dallas Stars.
Do you think they're the favorite?
I think they're the favorite in the West.
Okay.
I mean, I thought Winnipeg was, but I think Dallas is going to end up beating Winnipeg. I don't know that Edmonton is sustainable. Edmonton doesn't show up until an hour until the game has already started. And then in the third period, they're the best team in the league. Like they're behind in the first period every game they play, and they come back and win. And I think as teams get better, goalies get better. I don't think you can sustain that.
What about Toronto?
Toronto's pretty good. I think the East is very interesting because I think the Caps and Canes are the 2 best teams in the East. And they're playing each other in the semifinal instead of in the final. But the Leafs are pretty dangerous. They're the rooting, talking about rooting for Canada.
They're like the Cubs.
They're the original no, they are the Cubs.
Yeah.
They're the original 6 team that hasn't won since 1960. So
Which team?
the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
So you're looking at it going, they're the only original 6 team in it. So that automatically gets them fans because there's people that just don't think hockey is anything other than the original 6.
Yeah, six team league. That's it.
And they, like I said, they haven't won since 1960. So they're the team that hasn't won. And
The lovable losers.
yeah, the lovable losers. So we'll see. I don't know. I think I still like the winner of the Canes Caps. Now, Bijan, you've got a take on this Canes Cap series.
Yeah, you're not too happy with your Caps.
I will
man.
revise before the podcast started for all the folks at home wanting a peek behind the curtain. I said that I think the Caps are going to get swept. I don't think they're going to get swept. I think they're going to lose in either 5 or 6. It's 6 if they're lucky. Carolina right now is the Vegas favorite to win the Cup.
They
And
are.
I think that's
I did not know that.
because they're fucking nasty. The Carolina Hurricanes. They're ridiculous. I honestly can see a Carolina Dallas final. I can see that being the final match.
Yeah, I could too.
But the thing, like Carolina, the thing that they do, like their entire mantra, is that they're just going to shoot, regardless of if there's a shot to be had. They're just going to shoot the puck on net and see what happens. The shots in the game 2 nights ago between Carolina and Washington were 33-14 in favor of Carolina. Shots on goal.
Yeah.
And the Capitals mustered 3 shots on goal the entire third period,
And
0
none in overtime, right?
Yeah. So Carolina's just going to pepper you with shots and hope for the best, which is honestly a pretty good strategy in the NHL because, as you know, if you crash the net, good things happen. Just put the puck on net, see what happens because it's going to be a hectic disarray in front of the net.
Chaos.
Carolina does that. And they also got a really good goalie in Frederick Anderson. They got a couple of really solid forwards like Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis and those guys. I am really scared, right? Well, I'm not really scared because I'm already kind of pessimistic. Like I'm kind of just resigned to my fate at this point. But I think Carolina's going to go all the way.
Wow.
I mean, I can see it. Carolina's really good. And like I said, I feel like this Caps-Canes series should be the Eastern Conference Final. I don't like the way that NHL does their matchups, putting divisions against each other until the final.
How do you feel if you're an LA Kings fan playing the Oilers in the first round for 4 years straight?
I know. I just don't like it. I don't like the way this is designed. I get that it's nice to have, the 4 divisions be the Final Four, but you're basically just have a division tournament until the conference final. And you play that team all the time anyway.
That was the problem that the Caps ran into all those years when they were the President's Cup winning team in the regular season. And then year after year, they would have to play the Penguins in the second round, and they would lose every year because the Penguins were always a better team.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And it's the same thing. I think the Central was the toughest division. I think Winnipeg, Dallas, Colorado, and St. Louis, I mean, there are 4 teams of the 8 in the thing from that division. I thought that was the strongest division. And so I think coming out of that division, which Winnipeg did, they had to win the President's Trophy to do it. But Dallas is really good. St. Louis was arguably one of the better teams in the second half. They had a crap first half, which is why they were an 8 seed. But after the All-Star break, they played really well. And so I think it's tough to go from St. Louis to Dallas. And I honestly think Edmonton or the Kings, whoever they play, is kind of a step down in competition, honestly.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes, but I'm on your side. Do they revamp the system?
No, they're married to this. It's been this way for 10 years, and nobody in Toronto seems to care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dumb. We'll see where they go. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's dumb.
It's one of those things, though.
See what happens.
One of the things that's funny, and I think this is funny about a lot of things, the way the U.S. does tournaments, okay? The way a tournament is designed in the United States is that you have a favorite, and you put the favorites in favorable matchups until the finals in hopes that you get the number 1 against the number 2 in the final.
Yeah.
That's how every tournament in America is designed. It is not the case worldwide.
No.
And proof of this is that hockey is done in Toronto by Canadians, by non-American people. They don't care that that's the way you do it. They want equality, 1 division champion in the 4, and it doesn't matter who it is. They're going to play each other. It doesn't matter. You got to beat who's in front of you.
Right.
World Cup. Do they seed them? No. You draw out of a hat.
Yeah.
Literally. You just pick teams out of a hat. They don't care who the seeds are. Around the world, this whole seeding and getting the top 2 in the final,
but plus you have that group, so it's like you have a way of, you have a group stage where you just try to get points, and then so if you're just drawing
after the group,
if you're drawing just for seeds, be like, oh, look who's number 1 seed. Oh, we haven't won this game. Well, lucky for you, but. I mean, it's
but that's why you get that group of death all the time.
Yeah.
There's always one group where 3 of the teams are really good, and you're like, why are these teams in the same group? They should all be in different groups so they can play each other in the playoffs.
Group of death.
I think FIFA just did that, so it looks like their optics looks like they're not trying to be sketchy,
corrupt.
Probably which they really have a sparkling record of not being corrupt. It's probably the best handled organization of all time.
Yeah, that and the mob.
And for the first time, we'll have World Cup in Qatar. Where? And it's going to be in November. It's a good idea. You could do it either or. And wait, Bijan has Iranian roots, and then Qatar, right?
Extremely legitimate operation. Nothing going on. Don't worry.
All right, last playoff thing, and this has nothing to do with the playoffs. Our last hockey bit. The Utah hockey team.
Love it.
has gotten a name. They are the Utah Mammoth.
Did you see the logo?
I did see the logo. It's got mountains. It's got a thing.
That is
A graduate
clean.
of Carolina's J School is the designer of that logo.
That's a good logo. I like their color.
Very good
That
logo.
makes sense because it's light blue, dark blue. It's very Carolina.
That is a.
Do you think that the logo is a little like clip art-y? It's a little like, I love the mountains and I love
I like the mountains in it.
Name.
Yeah.
But it could be like a little like cooler. It just seems like it's very like minimalist.
Oh no, I don't hate
from
it.
a Commander fan. Right.
Yeah, oh,
you talk about clip art. That's what that was for us.
All I'm saying is I'm waiting for the Mammoth and the Predators rivalry to really take off.
Oh, Paleolithic era style.
The Ice Age Bowl.
I love it. I think it was.
It's
I
the
think
tar
it's done
pit
well.
bowl.
I think it's clean. I mean, I need to look at it again to kind of get what Bijan's kind of saying, but I guess anything at this point looks great because, my football team has a W for the waste management W, so it doesn't matter. I think
I think that logo looks classy. It's minimalist, of course.
You always love the logo that has more to it rather than just the right. So, thank you. I mean, that's gorgeous because you see.
For those of us watching on YouTube, they can. Wait, we're on the radio. No, you don't see anything.
It almost looks like they kind of took the Utah Jazz old thing and then used those mountains and then turned it into the mammoths. But
thank you for the visual props.
have you ever seen some of the graphic designers that on Instagram that will will redo different logos in the professional spectrum? And some of the ones that they come up with are so clean and so good. It's dude, this needs to be the logo. They did one for the Detroit Lions, which was phenomenal. They had different. They had a couple secrets inside the logo. That's with this what
Easter
meant.
Eggs.
They had Easter eggs that meant this is part of the Detroit the auto thing. And this is
and I do like how they do. I like that stuff when they do logos. The Red Wings with the spokes and all that. There are certain things that are really cool when they're able to incorporate stuff, Easter eggs into logos. And they don't use the negative space anymore, but the old Hartford Whalers is the epitome of use of negative space to
and the old Washington Wizards, because the beard with the W.
Yeah.
Anybody? No? Okay.
Well, see, I only remember the Washington Bullets.
that was classic.
Yeah, the hands. That's not negative space, but yeah.
Not
The
negative.
hands. Praise
No,
Ruth.
but yeah. The Whalers is kind of one of the ones they always point to as sort of a classic thing.
Who do you think has the best logo in sports?
In sports? All sports?
No.
Holy cow, I'd have to think
Professional.
about that. I'd have to think about that for a while. I'm partial to the Cardinals.
I think the Montreal Canadiens are pretty classic.
It's classic, but it's nothing cool. It's Canadians hockey. And nobody ever knows what the H is for. They're like, why is there an H?
Habitant. You don't know that?
For Haliburton.
But historically, I really loved the Expos, the Montreal Expo logo. I always liked that.
I can get behind that.
Currently,
not to be biased and not to be political, but the old Washington Redskins logo was definitely the best.
My favorite one of those was when the feather curled under the.
curled on.
That was cool.
You had feather changes. I don't know what would you say? I would have to think about this for a while.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what logo I think is perfect though that I would never want to see changed?
The Steelers.
No, the Buffalo Sabres. I actually really like the Buffalo Sabres because it's literally a buffalo over sabres. It says their name with logos
what
instead
team
of
are
words.
you? Oh, never mind. We know.
But I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Everett, that old Buffalo Sabres logo with the white buffalo with the black and red.
No, I hated that.
That was popular too.
I hated that. I always liked the blue and gold, the buffalo over the sabres, where it literally is Buffalo Sabres. Just with the graphic instead of the words. I think that's so much better.
The Wake Forest Demon Deacon head is pretty solid.
Except they're getting rid of it.
Yeah,
No, are they totally
They're not really getting rid of it, but the walking deacon is kind of replacing it.
Here's something I was.
is the
It's
walking-
Think of Johnny Walker logo.
Yeah.
And it's basically that.
Hey, this is good for
You've
Bijan.
seen the statue, right?
This is good for Bijan, and since we all have ties to Wake Forest, here's an idea. When I was talking to one of the athletic trainers for one of the teams, and we were just kind of brainstorming about just kind of selling the brand Wake Forest, whatever, make it even more intimidating. And so we're like, how about we bring out the demon in the Demon Deacon, right? And so rather also with the motorcycle, but then you have the guy gets off the motorcycle or something with the cane, and rather than sticking the spear for Florida State, they stick the cane in the middle of it, and it says, "Let your demon out. Let the demon out, Deacon." I mean, it's more intimidating than. I mean,
Those crazy Baptists won't go for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing how I like the Wake the Demons idea.
Yeah, they did that.
They did that, and that's
to bring it back too.
Yeah, I think they need to bring.
But see, another thing, as I said, like you for one of the videos is like you have the demon deacon, and they don't want to show like color, so you don't want to be like white or black or whatever. So it'd be kind of more of like a black and white, whatever. So you can't really tell whatever the race is, and you have this deacon that just puts on, or you have this man who's in front of a mirror, he puts on the hat, and then like he looks up as if like in Clockwork Orange. And you just see this fire in his eye and is like this smile. It's like, let the demon out and demon deacon. I think that would work.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, we almost did that. And there's no way I'm going to find this. If I was on my computer, I have it in a file. Mm-hmm. But Nike, when they redid the logo, the WF, they gave an alternate deacon head.
Which was facing forward.
It was facing forward, and it got killed. It didn't make it to the light of day, but it was sort of that way. The idea was not to be an old white guy, and there's no way I'm gonna find it because it didn't see the light of day.
I was gonna say I would love to see what that looked like.
I will email it to you. I have it on my computer, but like I said,
think I saw it in Marshalls. Like someone they still made some. In the
they accidentally put a couple of them out before it got approved. I just don't have it.
There's this special like effect you can do on like TikTok, and where you can turn into like a demon, or whatever. So I did one for just myself, and then I did one for my eldest. And I showed my wife, and she's like, "Stop that! That's really freaking me out." But like, could go to that actual effect and have the deacon hat, and then slowly show like this smile, almost to make it demonic somewhat. But it's a little intimidating than, just a senior citizen walking with a cane.
Yeah,
we love that senior citizen. I think it's awesome. I have the strutting deacon logo on a quarter zip. It's elegant. Classic.
Yep, it is.
They also have to push the gear a little bit.
So, what is your? Give me a logo you think is the best of all time. Everybody's got to go around the room and give one. I've given one. I've got another possible.
Logo.
Two already.
Of all time, it can be teams that are now defunct.
Defunct. I went Expos, so yeah, you can go Hartford Whalers if you want to.
I mean, I think the Celtics win with the magical one. It's just classic.
It's classic. It's fun. It's like the Yankees. Nobody cares.
I like the Nuggets. Like the
80s Nuggets, with the cityscape.
Love it.
I did like that actually.
Actually, you know what? I do like as far as NBA, I do like the Hawks.
I was going to say that. Once the Hawks went back
to it,
the ball with the hawk head in it. I've always liked that, and that was always my favorite. And I didn't like it when they replaced it.
Yes,
and so I'm glad they came back.
But are you talking about the logo where it's like the hawk is facing forward and his wings are out like this?
No. Talking about the basketball with the hawk silhouette in the ball.
What I'm talking about. It's minimalist.
The first time I saw it, I thought it was Pac-Man.
Well, it is. It's the Pac-Man logo. That's actually what they call it. The Pac-Man logo.
But I'm like, what's that like in the middle? Is he like eating something? Oh, it's a hawk. So, and then I saw it. I'm like, Dominique Spud Webb. That's classic.
Yeah. So, I already went with Redskins. I still
you went with Redskins. That's right.
I think
Homer.
Redskins, but as a 1B, the old Vancouver Grizzlies logo where the grizzly bear was like
swatting at
grabbing
you.
the ball. It was insane. It was one of the best logos of all time. They should go back to that.
Vancouver. That's right. The Toronto Raptors. Or they had
another one. The Raptor holding the basketball. It's like a perfect logo.
I remember when the Magic finally came out with their logo when I was little, because it was like my grandparents lived in Orlando at the time, and they brought it up. They're like, "We're getting an NBA team. You want to see what it looks?" And it's this Magic, and I'm like, "Is Magic Johnson going to play for you?" But it was pretty classic. And the old Charlotte Hornets one with the old Hornet.
Another one.
Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo. I mean,
I can't really
I
support
also will echo Tim, because I mean the Steelers is classic. Yeah, that was back in the day. That just shows me
that
Dan
screams
Reeves.
90s.
Yeah. Big country for Oklahoma State. But yeah, I mean the Steelers has a lot of history.
Well, like
and-
we can go with the classic. Like if you say Steelers, I know you don't like the Cowboys, but Cowboys, Celtics,
It's
Dodgers.
not a logo; it's a rating.
I know. You make all the jokes you want. The point is, those are all classic, like the Raiders. Like there are some that should never change. Like
The old Patriots.
no, I'm talking about the classic logos that should never change. The Celtics should never change their logo. The Raiders should never change. The Steelers should never change. The Cowboys should never change. The Lakers should never change. Although I don't know that they actually have a logo. It's just Lakers. But I mean, there are those teams that should never ever change their logos, and I think that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Like the Cubs, I mean, they just don't ever change. And the Cardinals, for that matter, Cardinals have had the same logo for 100 years. Never change it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the Brewers when they switched and had the
I do like
W.
I do like the hat,
Or
the
the- yeah.
glove logo.
When they had the M,
M.
and
The M and the B,
then
yeah.
the M and the B is cool too. But then they went to the M with the
with the wheat behind
yeah.
it. Yeah, that was
And
terrible.
I loved it. I thought it was very clean. And I'm like,
It's
I was
clean.
like, I just said, is there they can't do anything wrong. Everything they put up, they put out. I'm like, I like it. So,
Well, they have great colors, which helps. I mean, blue and gold is always going to look good together. But, and I got it, like the wheat, the hops, or the barley. Yeah, it makes sense for a brewer. But the MB logo with the glove,
Seattle
making
Mariners.
MB, old Seattle Mariners
Yeah,
with
the trident.
the trident. Yeah.
no, I like the when they went to the 90s. That's what
see,
they still have
you're
now.
way too
no,
young.
it's got the. I do remember when Seattle but they had the same colors as Milwaukee Brewers.
And then
when
they
they changed
changed
it when it went to that teal, and then they had that tight S with the
With the
compass,
the compass
and it was
rose.
like Seattle and Seattle Mariners, and I'm like, oh, that's tight. And then of course all you see is King Griffey, and I'm like, yeah, hands down, Beth. Or the old Cleveland Indian, Chief Wahoo.
I saw a headline that they're trying to bring that back. Was I duped
No,
or is that
duped.
real?
You're duped.
Wow.
yeah.
Damn.
It's the same thing that was trying to get us to get the Redskins back.
And Chief Wahoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same source.
So I wasn't asked, but I'll say.
Yeah, no, you've already.
You have been asked.
I know. I did.
What do you got to do? Got to send him an evite.
Bucko Bruce. The
Buccaneer.
Tampa Bay
The
Buccaneer.
the orange sickled
I
Buccaneer.
love it. It's one of my favorite uniforms ever.
I don't hate it. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to get excited about guys running around in orange sickle, but
Orange sickle.
yeah.
I love it.
Who put that? Was like, what's our colors? Well, it's gonna be orange.
Well, it was very
red,
Miami-ish
and white
too. So
Miami-ish.
yeah, because they use orange too.
Yeah, but
So they wanted to keep the
They wanted to keep the orange with the oranges in Florida.
yeah, they wanted to go with the Florida motif.
What other
I
I
mean-
really like.
And I like the Patriots original.
Yeah, the hut.
Yeah,
hike.
with the center. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pat Patriot.
Pat Patriot, yeah.
the Patriot, yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch that I think are clean looking. I mean,
Well, I'm not going for clean. Like you can be clean and have a W.
like
and
I like
be clean.
I like the Texans. You don't like the Texans. I think that's a very good looking
it's fine.
clean hit.
Yeah, but clean's not the goal. The goal is to look good.
Well, that's what clean means.
No,
when
it
you say-
doesn't. Clean just
Yeah.
means it's simple.
no, because the Commanders is clean.
You
Yeah.
looking? No, if
It's
you're
just
thinking of
simple.
clean the other way around. The clean is like a way of saying, yeah, that's just a clean look right there. Just pop, good. Nothing about it. It just shines. It's a clean look.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what that means, but maybe. I've always thought of clean as just being simple, like the Cleveland Indians logo, the C. It's clean. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a C.
It's just a C.
I actually like some interestingness, nuance into the logo. Detroit Red Wings is also one that should never change. Like
Yeah.
I hate the Red Wings, but their logo is
Classic.
kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Who else? I don't know.
Well, we mentioned Dallas. a
Orioles.
little bit.
Orioles.
The Orioles
Bird.
when they went back to the cartoon bird.
Yeah.
The anatomically correct Oriole was terrible.
Yeah.
The heck is that?
But the actual cartoon Oriole is I do like.
Yeah. But we had alluded to Dallas.
Yeah. It's a perfect logo for the Cowboys. The
Yeah.
star. That I know you don't like Dallas, and that's fine. This is not about whether you like the team or not.
Oh no.
It's an actual
I think
perfect
the
logo.
Ravens uniforms are beautiful,
Yeah.
but I hate the Ravens.
Right.
But
And that's what I mean. This is not about whether you like the team or not.
yeah. But going back to talking about Dallas, they have a new wide receiver.
Yes, they do.
And you know what? Thank goodness they do.
Because you were couldn't get him out of Pittsburgh fast enough.
I really wish that they had used something in the
Seattle
draft.
Seahawks.
It's fine.
Something in
I'll
the
allow it.
No, it's fine. I like their colors. I liked it better when they were the blue in green instead of this kind of weird color they have now. That
I like where they can
highlighter
switch back
color.
and forth. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, Pickens gone to Dallas, which looked like they got the let's see the kiss of death. If the Steelers say they can't work with him, it doesn't usually work out.
yeah. Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. About anybody.
Yeah. Deontay Johnson.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
Deontay Johnson. Exactly.
Plaxico Burress. Somewhat.
Yeah, well, he, did really well in the Super Bowl. But I was hoping we'd do it during the draft and maybe get a little more capital out of it. And I do think we not undervalued, but we got less than what we deserved for him. However, he's now somebody else's problem. And that problem is Dallas's problem.
I feel bad for Dak because now he's going to have CD Lamb and now George Pickens.
Both
And
complaining they
saying-
don't get enough
Yeah.
passes.
Hey, did you guys read this article? It's
Maybe
funny.
he'll decide in Dallas that he feels like playing.
I read this article. It's funny that Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, would sometimes call Marvin Lewis or his assistant coaches at like 2 a.m. and just say, "I'm open," and hang up. Oh, yeah, that's pretty dang funny. But yeah, I kind of laugh at it because I'm like, oh, Cowboys get like another headache because I still feel like CD Lamb is a cancer in that locker room. I think he's talented, yeah, but I think he definitely bothers Dak because I think he's constantly like chipping in his ear, like, I'm open, and then like says things to demoralizing to Dak. I mean, he's not a scary Terry, like a guy that will do his thing and also like be a team player. And now you have George Pickens, which two very, very flashy, good wide receivers when they play like their game.
I mean, he's
But
led
you
the
gotta
league in a lot of stats. They're really good stats. I hear they're great, beautiful stats. But stats are only, it's still not production because he's too much problem. So it's not helping anybody. And I'm just so glad now that
you can get rid of him. You bring in Aaron Rodgers, and then you guys can bring in Randall Cobb again. He'll get your old receivers from the Packers. And
Is Aaron
then
Rodgers still holding you guys hostage, or is he
Yeah.
just going to retire?
no,
God, I hope he retires because
he's
I
going
really
to be
don't
your
want to
he's
have
going
to
to be your
hope-
quarterback.
I just really don't want to pull for somebody to take him out. But I will.
don't know what's going on with the Steelers, but like as far as I usually can get a good idea like how they build from the soil up. But this one, okay, I get the whole trade for trading somebody like your receiver to get out of there because of Pickens has just been a headache. But otherwise, I mean, like looking for weapons, you get DK Metcalf, which is great, but then
then
I
you
said,
get
hey, congratulations, DK. You have now. Who's throwing to you?
not Kenny Pickett, makeshift Rudolph.
Yeah. So you're like, there has to be some plan in there that.
I thought whenever they brought DK in that they were certainly going to keep Wilson at that point.
Yeah, me too.
Because, I mean,
They've had
they have a
chemistry.
history
Yeah.
and they have great chemistry together. But no, that was not to happen.
I'm wondering if that was the plan, and then the Giants swooped in, and then they had to alter their plan, where they had Plan A, at least have Russell Wilson back, maybe, and then draft a quarterback to get him groomed, and then you still have a chemistry where you can possibly again get to the playoffs and possibly win your division. But then Russ got an offer from New York and went to New York.
I am not disappointed with who is it, Howard, that we got the
Will?
Yeah. I'm not disappointed with that.
Yeah, he's. I can't believe you guys got him that late. Like, he was the dominant force of that Ohio State team, right? In that semifinal, he was everywhere in that semifinal game.
Yeah, so people. I saw somebody, a Steelers fan, on some board say, "Well, what has he done? Only won a national championship."
He came from Kansas State too, then transferred, and then was able to get a national title to Ohio State, which is pretty impressive. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they definitely have a plan for a quarterback, and all signs point that it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Although I don't know how you get pumped up for Aaron Rodgers. He looks like he's definitely like full of himself. He thinks he's better than what he's now become, and still thinks he is entitled to that kind of attention. And I don't see it. So, we'll see. But I don't know how you get suckered into that after watching that crap show circus in New York, which we all believed that was going to happen when he got there.
I just wouldn't get him.
Yeah.
Like, I would be like, sorry, dude, you haven't made a decision in 2 months. We're moving on.
It's just arrogance.
I wouldn't even be in the running.
Not touching that guy with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pure arrogance at this point.
No. Go hang out with RFK Jr.
All right.
Talk about red dye.
Last thing, I think, we're running out of show, but let's, so apparently Tom Brady talked with Shedeur Sanders about motivation because Shedeur Sanders fell to the 5th round in the Browns, who have 5 quarterbacks now. If you are anybody, like the epitome of motivation is Tom Brady, right? Being drafted late, becoming arguably the greatest quarterback in football.
Yep.
That seems like someone that Shedeur Sanders should listen to.
Yeah. I think that I don't know if that's it. If Dion said, he needs somebody else, another voice or something, but he's got to get his head on straight because after that fall in the draft and then after the exit, whatever interview is saying about teams that he came in as if he was being recruited rather than trying to apply for a job, which is a big, big flag. And then I'm just absolutely floored. I have my ups and downs about Dion, but I feel as if Dion would I don't know, coach his players, not only his players, but his son about coming in, being humble, and also being be a respectable person that is trying to get a job, that you also have to play that part. Trust in your game, but don't be a cocky asshole. So I get Dion's cocky, but I think he also gets the fact he also gets
Dion cocky?
He also gets the
talking about the
business.
same person?
He also gets the business, how he coaches and being humble and these kids that come in there and will have a good attitude that want to work to get to where they want to be. But yeah, I'm just I'm surprised by by that like he wouldn't getting, especially with all the NFL people he's around because of Dion. Like, it's not just Dion. He's got probably an uncle that played, was as a receiver, Michael Irvin, or who else? Or
well, it's all Dion's friends.
Here's Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice will tell you how to do it. I mean, I just don't. I don't understand.
Jerry Rice was a different kind of confident. Jerry Rice,
quiet assassin.
Yeah, he didn't tell you he was better than you. He just went out there and showed you he was better than you.
Yeah.
But he also went to Mississippi Valley State, so I mean,
humble already.
Yeah, it's like you just. I don't know. It was interesting to see that since we didn't have a pre-draft or post-draft, podcast,
which I love doing, but
we didn't get to talk about it. But that was the talk of the draft. Like, of all the people who were actually drafted, they continuously talked about Shedeur Sanders not being drafted until he goes to the 5th round. And you had talked about, Dion is behind the scenes trying to make sure he goes to a good team.
Yep.
Well, the Browns aren't a good team. And the fact that they actually drafted Gabriel ahead of him.
Yep.
I mean, they've got literally 5 quarterbacks in their room right now.
I'm going to say, if there's anything that has with Dion on how he approached that or whatever, and if that was the case, Dion, you better look into the mirror, man, because if you're going to be a head coach in college and there have these young kids that want to follow your guidance, you did an absolute, you just shit the bed with your own son. And
but he did great with Travis Hunter.
Yeah, Travis Hunter is going to be one of the best receivers, if not next year, the year after.
Or defensive backs, whichever.
Or defensive back.
Flip a coin. Yes. Maybe better than Haliburton. But but I think, this is a big, come on, Dion, this is your son, and that is embarrassing. On top of his legacy for Sanders. But now it's also a way to maybe for Shedeur as a somewhat of a gift, because this puts him humble situation where he has a chip on his shoulder and he has something to he's not been given the golden key and this is yours. You actually got to go work for it. He has the talent. Let's see what he does with it. So, this could actually serve as something good for him because he's grown up rich his whole life. He's grown up that he's Dion's kid, that he gets starting quarterback, high recruited out of high school, goes from there to Colorado, high pick to the supposed to be in the draft.
Jackson State first.
Jackson State first with Dion, but he went with his dad. Still highly recruited out of high school, and now you have to face adversity, which I feel like is a good thing for quarterbacks if you want to invest in them, a la Daniels. Right?
Thank God for the JD shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to be humbled. I think he was. I don't think he deserved to go to the 5th round. Tyler, the Saints drafted Tyler Show, however you say it, over him, which was just bonkers.
Well, that's the thing. There was a lot of quarterbacks picked ahead that I don't think are as good.
Yeah, the freaking Browns quarterback room right now is Deshaun Watson, piece of shit. Joe Flacco, actually decent, probably will start.
But old.
Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and Kenny Pickett. That's absurd.
And Bernie Kosar.
Well, Watson won't play.
No, Watson's not going to be in the mix, probably.
No, he's with Kyle Tucker.
But the 3 kids, you're right. The old guy is probably going to start. Flacco. But you've basically got Pickett, who's marginal, and then Gabriel and Sanders, the 2 rookies. So of those 3 younger guys, one of them's going to stick and back up Flacco for the first 3 weeks. And then they'll
Flacco.
And then they'll pick whichever one of the young kids they like.
Right.
I just don't see Watson. I think his career's done.
Yeah, he is done because he won't play this year. He's out. And I think it would be better for them to clear up a spot on the roster. Just pay him and let him go.
Yeah, he's
because they're going to pay him regardless.
Right.
So just pay him and let him go.
Well, didn't the Ravens release Tucker? So you would think that would.
He has some issues right now, doesn't he?
Who?
Yeah, he's
Tucker,
got the same.
He did the same thing issues that Deshaun has. He's
Yeah.
been going to masseuses and Jeffrey Epstein in him. Somewhat.
Allegedly.
soon. Yes, too soon.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
allegedly
Sang to him
enough.
first, though. That's different.
Allegedly enough to where they got rid of him.
There's 2 minutes alleged. Too much smoke. That means there's got to be some fire. So, yeah, I think Watson's done. He's going to have to, like, if he's going to resurrect his career, he's going to have to come in as like, a pickup free agent with someone else, and then like sit there on the bench, and then miraculously come up, and when there's an injury, and show where like Deshaun and have to, oh, there he is. Let's just hope he doesn't get around masseuses anymore.
Yeah, that and the, it's all this time away. There's no way he can keep up his training regimen. I mean, he's getting older.
Yeah.
He's past prime right now anyway.
Yeah. Well,
Also, screw him because he's a Brown.
how can you say that? The Browns didn't do anything. They're like this.
Let's talk about the worst logos in the sports. The Cleveland Browns.
You have to have a logo to have the word.
I got this great idea. Cleveland Browns.
Brown.
Because that's your name? Yeah.
Let's just do orange. How about
Orange
orange?
helmet. I do love the orange helmets. Do love that. I think that's
But that's
classic.
their logo. It's an orange helmet. It's not
Funny
even
that-
brown.
It's funny that Flacco played and won a Super Bowl with the old Browns, and then now with the new Browns.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all the Browns can do is go.
Browns fans.
Yeah.
Cursed. All right. I had a couple other things, but I think they're going to wait till next week.
Let's do it.
So I think we're pretty much done for today.
Bijan, thanks for joining us, man. This is fun when we get you here. I mean, we actually got to get you here
Band back
live
together.
so we can have bourbon and bowl. We're going to rename
I'll
this.
make a point, man. I gotta go down to the big city at some point.
Exactly. Big city.
Which isn't Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Nah. The
I
big-
need a break, man.
Yeah.
I'll be down there eventually.
All right, for Tim Beeman and Bijan Todd, that is live from D.C., and Everett Hutto, I'm Ty Collins. Thank you for watching us, listening to us.
We acted like they were watching.
Yeah, you're watching us. But anyway, you don't have to be. I'll see you later.
Podcasts are solely those of the contributors and not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting company. This podcast is copyrighted, and no material from this podcast can be used or reproduced without the expressed written permission of the Less Desirables Network and Such Limited Incorporated.